What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day, great night, whenever you're watching this. I do apologize if I sound like I'm talking slow, it's because I'm a little tired. I've been going, I had kind of a stressful day, dealing with some bullshit, with, with certain people, and then, we had this year coming to an end, we're just trying to get things all said and done, long story. I'm not going to talk about it. But, anyways, I do apologize about the weird lighting. I'm using my TV screen as a light, I'm actually sitting down and playing a game right now, playing me some Minecraft. I don't play games all the time. I'm more of an outdoor person than I am a video game person. I just sit down and play games occasionally, because, you know, sometimes I do it like before I head to bed, just kind of unwind. But, getting to the subject. So, before I really talk about how my year went, I want to give a few shout outs. You know, Quite a few shout outs actually. A lot of them are good shout outs. One of them is an unfortunate shout out, pretty sad one, which I'll get to here in just a minute. But first things first, I want to give some shout outs out to some of my family that I don't see often. My cousin Michelle and her new husband Chris. Congratulations to you guys on getting married earlier this year. They got married a couple days after New Year's earlier this year, and I'm proud of them. You guys. I'm proud of you guys. Congratulations. And not only that, but my cousin Michelle also had her first kid too, named it Malachi John Paul Boynton. Congrats to your son as well. So big things for them. And then also some of my friends. My good friend Darcy. Congratulations to you as well on getting married. And then my other friend Annie that lives down in Tennessee. She got married as well. Annie, congratulations to getting married. Congrats on your new husband, Mike. And then one more wedding shout out that I can think of. My cousin Jasmine that recently got married, I think a couple weeks back. Congratulations to you and your husband as well. And then here's the unfortunate shout out that I gotta talk about. So one of my other cousins, his wife, he's already got one kid, but the unfortunate thing is, they were supposed to have another kid, and they gave birth to their second child, but this right here, and I don't ever want this to happen to anybody, because this is an unfortunate thing to happen. It's a pretty sad thing, but their second kid ended up passing away at birth, which is really heartbreaking. It happened, I think, late September, and right now they are still kind of devastated by it, which I understand. It's a very unfortunate thing to happen, and like I said, I wouldn't want that to happen to anybody. It's a very terrible thing. So, to my cousin Mike and his wife and son, I'm terribly sorry for your guys' loss. I am still thinking of you guys. I haven't really talked to them much since the situation, but still, my heart does go out to them. And then I also know some people that had COVID and died from it. That's pretty tragic too. I had COVID myself this year, but luckily I made it through, which I'll get to in the video. But now that that's out of the way, this year, I mean, it wasn't the best year. I mean, it could have been a little better, but it wasn't the worst year either. I'll admit. I mean, I've made a lot of good memories this year. Done a lot of cool things, and went on a few trips. That was fun too. The first trip we went on, it was February. We went on a snowmobile trip to northern Michigan. We stayed at a hotel in Mackinac City, and then we went to the UP, short for the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, a couple times for snowmobiling. That was absolutely fun. Super cold, but definitely fun. And then the second trip we went on, and I wasn't really planning on going on this trip, because I don't ride motorcycles. I love motorcycles, but it just kind of freaks me out to be on one, like ride one or drive it myself, so I'm not a huge motorcycle person, so I wasn't really planning on going on this trip, but I think it was a day or so. Actually, it was that morning, because my plan was to originally go spend the week at my grandma's, and my stepsister and I were going to go there, and originally, or, at the last minute, I got talked into going. I was told, if I wanted to, I could just take, my dad's fiance's van, which I ended up taking, but, and the day we went, when I started heading that way, the second trip we were on anyways, for the motorcycle trip, I think the first hour or two that I drove, it was just really bad rainy weather. I would drive out of one storm and would end up driving into another one. It was severe rain, and it wasn't really a thunderstorm. It was just heavy rain everywhere, and it was like that on and off for the first couple hours I was driving, and then finally I tried to bypass the storm, and I ended up taking a different way to get out of it, and kind of rode alongside it for about a good 45 minutes or so, and then finally got away from it. Man, I can handle driving in rain, but, heavy rain like that nonstop, that gets pretty miserable after a while, I'll tell you that. But anyways, the second trip we went on, it was kind of a, Lake Michigan circle tour trip. Our first stop was Mackinac City. Our next stop was Ironwood, which is a town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, right on the Wisconsin border. And then our third stop was Wisconsin Dells. And our fourth stop was Michigan City, Indiana. I think my favorite part of that trip was when we were in Wisconsin Dells, because that was, like I said, it was my first time being in Wisconsin. And, being in Wisconsin Dells itself, it was pretty awesome. But seeing the rest of Wisconsin, on the other hand, it was a hell of a lot better than I thought it was going to be. We went through Madison and Milwaukee as well. We didn't go through the main part of Madison, because we stayed on I-94, and I-94 does this weird, odd loop on the outskirts of Madison. But it was cool to see Milwaukee though, even though traffic was just horrible. Yeah, it was still awesome to see Milwaukee. I've been wanting to see Milwaukee for a while. We were in downtown Milwaukee. We visited the Harley Davidson Museum in Milwaukee. That was really awesome. We weren't there for too long because they were closing, but they had a little motorcycle fest going on there, and at the museum. So that was cool. Oh, before we went on the second trip, though, I almost forgot to mention this, which I apologize, but I had some, a few of my little brothers and one of my cousins ended up graduating from high school. I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video, and I apologize now for saying it, but they all graduated, which I am happy for them. Congrats to my little brother Steven and Dominic, and my other cousin, JJ. Congrats to you guys. I'm proud of you. The next 2 or 3 trips we did, it was mainly, we just went up to Baldwin, Michigan a couple times, which is about an hour or so north of Grand Rapids. My dad bought property up there, which was cool, really nice. And, yeah. At some point after the motorcycle trip we did, I did end up making time to go see my grandma, to spend time with her, because, originally I was supposed to go there while everybody else was on the trip, and I got talked into going, so it just all kind of happened unexpectedly, I wasn't planning on going, and then I got talked into going, and I'm glad I got talked into going, because it was a good trip, Like I said, I think Wisconsin's an awesome state, Only thing I am bummed about with Wisconsin, though, is, or when we went through Wisconsin, is, we ended up not going to Green Bay. I don't just love Green Bay because it's home of Green Bay Packers. I got a buddy that lives in Green Bay, and I've heard a lot of good stories about Green Bay, and it seems like an awesome city to go to. And my friend, and then actually I got a few friends that live in the area. One of my friends lives in town Green Bay, and then another one of my friends lives in Appleton, which is right by Green Bay, if you're not familiar. Originally, we were supposed to go on another trip to Wisconsin, but that didn't happen, because money ended up being tight for a lot of people, so that didn't happen, unfortunately, but I mean, it's whatever. I got to see it. That's all that matters. I've had some things happen to me. Well, this year, like first, and this is something that really sucked, but one of the days I was working, which I work for a building contractor, that's what I do for a living, one of the days I was at work, I ended up screwing up my right knee. I was running over to my boss to hand him something. We were trying to get things done and wrapped up because the day was just about done, and we were trying to hurry up and get stuff done. And I'm running up a steep hill to hand him something, and right at that point, you know, my leg just felt like it went out of place, and you know, I went to grab my knee, and I ended up rolling back down the hill and was on the ground holding my knee and was in pain for a good minute or so, and took me a couple minutes to get up completely, and you know, it took me like 2 or 3 minutes to walk over to my truck. You know, that completely sucked. When I got to my truck, I started feeling lightheaded and sat in there for probably a good half hour or so, and then the work day was done, and you know, it just, yeah, that sucked. You know, couldn't walk normal for a week or so, and then I got me a knee brace, and it helped me a lot. So I wore that knee brace for about a month or so, and I wanted to take it off, you know, because we were kayaking. You know, I had it attached, or I had it tied down to the back of my kayak. And at one point when we were kayaking, you know, we hit a huge current area. You know, we were kayaking on the Kalamazoo River over by Otsego, and we hit a really bad current spot, and I thought I could make it in between these two big rocks that were sticking out of the water, and I get pinned between them, and man, just thinking about this, you know, it still freaks me out to think about it, but oh man, I don't think I've ever had a scarier kayak moment in my life. But you know, I mean, I've wrecked on a kayak quite a few times, but this was pretty scary to me. We were I thought I could make it between these two rocks, and my kayak got stuck, and it started tipping a little bit, and yeah, I'm going like this, you know, to try and scooch my kayak frontward, and you know, my kayak started tipping more, and water started going into it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm fucked. And finally, you know, my kayak starts to go through, but I'm already tipping over. So I think by the time I got out of the rocks, you know, that's when I tipped over completely, and the water was deep and the current was bad. You know, I had a hard time, you know, staying above the water, you know, and of course I made a stupid decision to not wear my life jacket at that point. I'm a good swimmer, but the current was just horrible. It kept trying to pull me under, and I'm fighting to stay above it. And luckily, there's some other rocks that I could, or there was this one flat rock that was right in the middle of the current area. You know, it took me about maybe 10, 15 seconds to get to it and get myself on it, and I was probably stranded there for about a good 20, 30 minutes. You know, I had other people with me. All my brothers were with me. You know, my little brother's friend was there, my aunt, my cousin, a couple of my cousins actually, and my dad. They were all there, and you know, my brother's friend actually, you know, came back to get me. He's a better swimmer than I am, and he, you know, he came back with my kayak and, you know, sent me on his way, or on my way. And he handled swimming in that current like it was nothing. Like, swam through it like it was nothing. I'm like, man. I wish I was that good, I guess. But other than that little incident with the kayak, you know, I mean, it was still a fun thing to do. I still love kayaking, just not on strong currents like that. I'm sorry, but, you know, I don't like kayaking on rough rivers. Yeah, I don't do well with rivers like that. But then again, we were unfamiliar with the river. I knew there was going to be a current spot, you know, because I looked at the river from Google Maps, to get an overhead view on what it looked like. And I remember looking at that current, and I'm like, man, I got a feeling that's probably going to be an issue. And yep, sure as shit, it was an issue. But I know what not to do next time if I go through there. Tell you that right now. But, the third unfortunate thing that happened to me this year is I ended up getting COVID. And this happened about like 3 months, or I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking right now, but this happened about 3 weeks ago. I was out of work for a couple of weeks. I got tested a couple times. First time it came back positive, and second time, I started getting better. So I went and got myself tested, and it finally came back negative. So I was able to return to work just fine. Thankfully, my family had it too, but they all handled it pretty good. I think I was in a pretty bad way for a couple days. Then I just started getting better from there on. So, I don't think I had it too bad, considering. One thing I almost forgot to mention about the kayak incident was, the knee brace I had tied to the back of my kayak. When I flipped my kayak in the river, it came loose and I lost my knee brace. But luckily I didn't need it too much anymore. I was already getting better at that point. So, yeah, I just kept it with me, just in case, because I think for a couple months or so after I screwed up my knee, which I screwed up my knee in April. My leg hurt for about a month or two, and then, finally I quit feeling pain. I'm glad that's over, I will say I did take a lot of videos this year for, from the things we've done, the places we've traveled to and all that. And I also did a lot of vlogging this past summer too. Like this summer I went and bought myself a tablet, which I'm recording with right now, and I was able to put together some longer videos, and take quite a bit of videos and then put them together. The app I used to put them together was Video Show. That app works pretty good. I make videos with both my phone and my tablet. I don't really have a camera that I record with, but I'll upload the videos to Google Photos and then transfer them either from my phone to my tablet or from my tablet to my phone and put the videos together from there on. And we went on some pretty good trips, I will admit it. Unfortunately, for the first few trips we went on, I didn't have my tablet, but I had my tablet for quite a bit of the other trips, though, which was cool. But for the videos I took, I'll have a link in the description to the videos I enjoyed making, and I like to look back on, the videos that I made that makes me happy. I'll have those videos, linked up in the description if you guys want to see them for yourselves. But that's really all I gotta say. Again, I do apologize about my speaking. It's nighttime. I'm getting tired, and like I said, I've had kind of a stressful day. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. Happy New Year, everybody, for anybody that watches this. And I also hope you guys had a really good Christmas as well. Be safe out there and have a great year, everybody. Be safe and make wise decisions.